Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and something feels off. Your phone isn't loading, satellites are glitching, the tides are raging, and the sun is hanging in a way you've never seen before. This isn't a scene from a disaster film. This is reality. If Earth suddenly stopped spinning, what would happen to us? Could life survive? Or would the planet itself tear apart? Right now, Earth rotates at about 1,670 kilometers per hour. At the equator, that spin is the reason we have day and night, stable weather patterns, and even a sense of balance in how our planet holds together. We barely notice it because it's constant. But if it stopped, not gradually, but instantly, physics would take over in the most brutal way imaginable. The Earth's spin carries an unimaginable amount of momentum. Think of a massive, spinning flywheel. Now, scale that up to the size of a planet with nearly 6 sextillion tons of mass. The kinetic energy of Earth's rotation is estimated at 2.14 times 10 joules. To put that in perspective, the most powerful nuclear bomb ever detonated released 50 megatons of TNT. Earth's spin has the energy of about 2.5 billion of those bombs. That's the power we're dealing with. And if the brakes suddenly slammed, everything not anchored to solid rock would keep moving at those speeds. If you're standing at the equator, your body is moving at 1,670 kilometers per hour with the planet. If Earth stopped instantly, your feet might stop, but the rest of your body would keep flying eastward. That means you and everything else would be thrown at supersonic speeds. Buildings would crumble, oceans would surge out of their basins, and winds would roar like nothing we've ever experienced. Entire cities could be flattened in seconds. The only chance of survival would be underground, in reinforced bunkers far from the equator. And even then, what comes next might make survival short-lived. Earth's spin keeps water distributed around the equator, creating the bulge in the oceans. If that rotation stopped, gravity would pull the oceans back toward the poles. The equatorial regions, including much of South America, Africa, and Southeast Asia, would be left nearly dry. Meanwhile, water would flood north and south, swallowing Canada, Siberia, Northern Europe, and much of Antarctica. Massive tsunamis would race across continents, drowning coastlines within hours. The world map as we know it would be unrecognizable. The atmosphere wouldn't stop just because the ground did. Air would keep rushing at nearly 1,700 kilometers per hour, creating planet-wide shockwaves. We'd see walls of wind stronger than the most violent hurricanes, flattening forests, cities, and mountainsides alike. These winds would carry dust, debris, and salt water high into the sky, darkening the planet under choking clouds. Breathing outside, impossible. Surviving outside? Highly unlikely? Without rotation, Earth would no longer have a 24-hour day. Instead, one side of the planet would face the sun for 6 months at a time, while the other side plunged into freezing darkness. The daytime side would scorch under constant sunlight, pushing temperatures beyond 100 degrees Celsius. The dark side would freeze, colder than Antarctica's worst winters. Human civilization, crops, animals, everything. All would be forced to migrate between the light and dark zones, chasing the thin ring of twilight where conditions might be barely survivable. Right now, the spin of Earth slightly counteracts gravity. At the equator, you weigh a tiny bit less because of centrifugal force. If the planet stopped, that force would vanish. Suddenly, everyone would feel slightly heavier. Not enough to crush you. Maybe 0.3% more weight, but enough to alter ecosystems, tectonic stress, and even how the oceans balance. Volcanoes and earthquakes would become more frequent as pressure shifts deep in the crust. It wouldn't just be the surface tearing apart. The entire planet's geology would go into overdrive. Here's another twist. Earth's rotation powers the geodynamo in its molten core, generating the magnetic field that shields us from solar radiation. Without spin, that magnetic shield would collapse. Radiation from the sun would bombard the surface, stripping away the atmosphere over time. DNA would break down, cancers would skyrocket, and survival outdoors would require radiation suits. Over decades, Earth could start resembling Mars. Dry, exposed, and lifeless. So, what's left alive in this nightmare world? Microbes, extremophiles, and maybe deep-sea life near hydrothermal vents. Humans, only in highly advanced, shielded colonies underground or underwater. Food production would collapse without sunlight cycles. Water would be trapped in bizarre polar seas, far from farmlands. Civilization, as we know it, wouldn't last more than a few years. But let's tweak the scenario. What if Earth slowed down over millions of years instead of stopping suddenly? The changes would still be dramatic, but not instantly catastrophic. Days would grow longer and longer. Plants and animals would adapt. Some might even thrive. Humans would need to re-engineer agriculture, design artificial light systems, and migrate with shifting climates. Eventually, oceans would still drift to the poles. Continents would reshape, and life would evolve into forms suited to a planet that no longer spins. It would be harsh, but survivable. The good news is, nothing in the known universe could just stop Earth's spin in an instant. Not even an asteroid impact. It would take an object the size of Mars to slow us down significantly. And by then, the impact itself would already destroy Earth. The only real slowdown is happening naturally. Tides are gradually reducing. Earth's spin by about 1.7 milliseconds per century. So billions of years from now, our days will be a bit longer, but Earth won't stop spinning anytime soon. Thinking about this scenario reminds us of just how fragile our home really is. Everything we rely on day and night, weather, oceans, breathable air, all depend on a delicate balance of motion. We live on a giant spinning ball, perfectly positioned for life, and most of us never give it a second thought. If that motion ended, so would almost everything we know. So, what would happen if Earth stopped spinning? Instant destruction, oceans on the move, unbreathable winds, and a planet unrecognizable within hours. Luckily, it's pure imagination. But it does make one thing clear. The spin of our planet's ice and tea. Just a detail. It's the heartbeat of Earth itself. And that S, the end of today, S journey into one of the wildest what-ifs we could imagine. If Earth ever did stop spinning, it would be the ultimate reset button. But not the kind any of us would want to press. If you enjoyed exploring this scenario with us, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Alternate for more deep dives into the biggest questions about our planet, the universe, and everything in between. Got another what if you'd like us to explore? Drop it in the comments! Your idea might just become our next video. Until then, stay curious, keep questioning, and we'll see you in the next episode.